What the fuck is going on, YouTube? Welcome to the inspection. I'm the inspector, and for today's reaction video, we are doing one of my favorite YouTubers, Sergeant Ducky. Another one of his videos. This one is called Your Typical Irish Wedding. I've been sitting on this one I have like 10, 15 videos I've been sitting on for over a month. And this one is one of them. Sergeant Ducky rarely disappoints me. This motherfucker is hilarious. He actually makes me want to go to Ireland. And pretty much run into the same miserable shit that I'm going to run into in America. I mean, have him tell it. Anyways, that's enough with the intro. Without further ado, let's just get into it, shall we? All right.
Did you know that one of my favourite events to go to are weddings? You get to wear fancy shoes, meet new people and talk about decor. Who doesn't want that? Me, I don't want that. Nobody does. That intro is all lies to draw you in so you can hear me moan for a bit. Can you believe I get paid for this? Which reminds me, this video is sponsored by Skillshare.
Ah, shit. Okay, we're not doing sponsorships here. We're not doing sponsorships because these motherfuckers ain't paying me. Skillshare, you start paying me, I'll probably do this, but nah. I'll leave a link to the original video if you want to support Ducky, but nah, we ain't doing that.
Free trial of Skillshare so you can start exploring your creativity today. Now, I know there's a lot of you out there that like to attend a wedding or two, and if I was a betting man, I'd wager it's the same people whose genitals whistle in the wind, but I never liked them. Every time I get dragged to one, it feels like a punishment. Hey, we're going to a wedding in July. Ah, what did I do now? But can you blame me though? Out of all the random invites to things my missus endlessly smothers me with month to month, weddings are by far the worst. She sees it as a lovely day out, an excuse to dress up all fancy, pig out at a meal and drunkenly hit the dance floor when the DJ starts playing some modern hits like Summer of '69, Living on a Prayer and Cotton Eye Joe. Trust me, if you want to drop from alcohol poisoning at a wedding, take a shot every time you hear a song that came out before 1995. But to me, a wedding invite isn't so lovely. It's like saying, here you go, this is an invitation to...
That's probably because a lot of modern music is ass, but you know, when it comes to like the party music, I don't know. Maybe if you go to a black or Hispanic wedding, you might hear a lot of the ass shaking music. I don't much care for it. So yeah, I'll be the nigga sitting down waiting for this shit to be over.
to take an unpaid day off work, rent a suit, pay for travel to a hotel that'll also be 120 quid a night, all to sit there and watch us dedicate an entire day of your life to celebrate how great we think our relationship is. And by the way, it's customary to give us a few pound in a card, so don't be cheap. It's just an expense to partake in two people's vanity, and that's not to mention the cost the bride and groom got to dish out just to have it. Ah yes, crippling financial debt, the perfect way to kick off a romantic union. But that being said, even though I do have some great arguments for why I shouldn't have to go to him, Connie has the power of sexual favours on her side, and it took me long enough to train her in as is, so I have to reluctantly agree to some. Can we all agree on one thing though? Weddings are only for the bride. I've argued this a lot with people, partly because wedding ceremonies are too long and I need ways to help me forget about the pain in my arse that church pews are especially designed to provide, but mostly because it's true. It just is. Tell me, how many exotic dancer-themed weddings have you been to? How tasty was a rack of barbecue ribs and burgers you were served at the meal? How many unreal cars did the groom talk about during his vows? Exactly. It's all flowers, dancing and romance. Typical feminine things. Granted, I've yet to go to a gay wedding, so my scope is a little bit limited, but honestly, I think I could have a lot of fun with that. You see that? Your days are numbered, girl. What? Us fellas were the first to push for gay rights, we invented the sex change, and now we can marry each other. You women don't realise we're only a breakthrough in childbirth away from not having to put up with your shit anymore.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Well, you like soon as we figure out how to make babies without you, bitch, you're gone. Oh man. Okay. Full disclosure, I don't personally believe that. I think humans have a natural connection to each other. So, and whatever that connection is, it's all up to you. But yeah, if I could make a baby without the mama, I probably would. But I damn sure wouldn't do it in a gay. I damn sure wouldn't do it in a gay marriage because that would involve having another human and another set of problems into the mix. Oh my god! I'd rather just train my own human. There, I said it. Yeah. spoken as the man, spoken as the man over 30 who still doesn't have kids. Yeah, I'd rather do it without another human. Just saying.
But if you're still not convinced, then just have a look at the wedding entrances. Everything falls silent. Everyone's on their feet and turned to gaze, waiting for the bride. Then, there she is. The angel of the moment enters the venue and starts walking down the aisle atop of flowers scattered on the floor, especially for her, all to the tune of a lovely musical score you'd expect to hear if the Lord himself descended from the heavens. Women in the aisle
Did y'all catch that? That Ducky drew himself as still not being interested while everybody else is wide eyed. That's a nice touch.
crying out of envy, awe and habit. Men smiling softly at her because they're not quite sure what to do in these moments. Bridesmaids smiling through anger because they were forced to wear ugly dresses so the attractive ones don't outshine the bride. Everyone is in agreement. Never has a more perfect being existed as she takes her place at the altar where her groom awaits. The groom's already there. He didn't get an entrance? No, because this day is about her, so fuck him. If us lads could have our way, weddings would be a lot different. For my entrance, I want to be walking down the aisle to the tune of Another One Bites the Dust, with the aisles flanked with gaggles of attractive women crying at the devastating news that my pipe is well and truly off the market. The boys will be cheering me on through the power of football chants, and most importantly, to balance the scales a little bit, she'll have to sign a contract at the altar with the power to terminate the marriage if she can't meet the monthly slob job quota or yearly weigh-ins. If we had that, we might be able to put up with the post-ceremony crows a bit better. You know, the ones, people who repeat the same small talk over and over outside a church like they're trying to get you.
Okay, I'm sorry, that's a little too far there. Women should not be obligated to give you a blowjob. Because let's just be honest here, if women felt like they were forced to give you a blowy, it's gonna be extremely half-assed at best. Especially if y'all been together for a while. Shit, that blowy will go from a A++ to a D- real fucking fast. And don't you have the balls to point out that her game is off that night, because that's just gonna spark an argument. So let's leave, like, annual blowies like off the table. You know what I'm saying? Let's just stick to something simple, like, you know what I'm saying? You wear, like, booty shorts. Like, you're required to wear booty shorts once a week, or, sweatpants, or in my case, if I'm with a big titty woman, just a tank top. I ain't asking for nothing all fancy, no lingerie, anything shit like that. Just wear me a tank top with some goddamn boxer shorts, and that gets me every time. But then again, I'm weird.
To join their cult or something.
Her makeup was fab.
Wasn't she beautiful?
Wasn't the bride lovely?
Oh, the dress was lovely.
What did you think of her dress?
A beautiful couple.
She looked
Oh,
smashing.
the dress was gorgeous.
Wasn't the bride lovely? Wasn't she beautiful? What did you think of her dress? Smashing.
A
Nails
beautiful
was
couple.
fab.
She looked gorgeous.
Oh, the dress was gorgeous.
I have never been to a wedding. I'm trying to think. Like, no, all my friends and people I know, they either have a baby without the marriage and never get married, or they just do what any sensible human being will do and just go to the courthouse. Almost everybody I know, whether they related to me or not, has done that. Nah, I almost brought up my mom because she recently got married, but it's not like I wasn't invited. I just wasn't in the state. And I don't know if I was going to take a 4-hour drive to that wedding. I love her husband, by the way. I love the groom, nothing like that. It's just that I'm lazy. I ain't want to go. But wow, big fancy wedding. I think I was 5 last time I went to a big fancy wedding. And I'm not gonna say whose it was, but it was a family member, and no, it didn't work out. Took him like 20 years, but it didn't work out.
Some cock on him. Thankfully, at this stage of the day, it's finally socially acceptable to drink, so you can make your way to the overpriced hotel in the middle of nowhere and visit an even more overpriced hotel bar. That's $6.50, please. Look out that window and tell me what county you see. Carlo? Well, until that changes to Bel Air, you can take a fiver and be happy about it. But I will warn you, it's best to go handy on the booze at this stage because the meal you'll need to act as some soakage will arrive much later than you expect. And if you don't pace yourself, you'll be well on your way to getting pissed before you even touch the starter. Trust me, have a look around all the tables when the meals are being brought out and there'll be more flushed faces than the top step of an Overeaters Anonymous clinic. Speaking of tables, I can tell you one thing. People vastly overestimate how interesting their friends are. And you'll discover this when you're put at a table of varied strangers. Two of them you might be lucky to know, and the rest of them will be an absolute carnival of creatures. You'll have one that'll be falling asleep at the table because he thought 8:30 this morning would be a great time to kick the party off. A couple that'll miss the speeches because they smoke more than a pensioner slit on Valentine's Day. An eater so fussy it's a scientific mystery how they got to 27 stone. An unfussy eater rotating his way around the tables like a seasoned charity worker bargaining for a couple of forkfuls of potatoes gratin. Someone who knew about the wedding for over a year and still managed to only arrive with a fiver to their name and no idea where they're sleeping tonight, who's also usually the one who's only there in hopes he can prey on emotionally weakened women who's had their defences broken because the lovely atmosphere of the day is only serving to contrast and highlight how unhappy she is in her own romantic life and will now take any attention to dull the feelings of desperation filling her lungs. But before that, he'll be happy to fill you in on some of his riveting achievements, like how he once won €250 on a horse and how when he was 16 he got to feel the bride's dick behind his centra. But before long, it's finally time to eat, and you're looking forward to this because you are ravenous. Let's be fair, you probably haven't eaten for hours, if not even all day, because you've gone up a size since the last time you wore these formal clothes, and you know well that your trouser button's only about 3 calories away from taking out the chandelier. So with a growling stomach, you start to prep your cutlery in front of you with the vibe of a skilled surgeon. Make sure the butter is there, the salt and the pepper is within arm's reach, and then finally, you get to chow down on some... no, the fucking speeches. Why do they always do the speeches before the dinner? Surely the most opportune time to tell stories is when we've all eaten and don't want to move for a bit. Not pre-meal when we're all hangry. It's not like I hate the speeches. Okay, I do. Why do I need to hear a summary of their lives? I'm not writing a f***ing book. But there is some good to be gotten out of them, in the form of the best man speech. Let's be fair, out of all the wedding guests, the best man is the lad you'd most like to go on the piss with. He's the one you can rely on, the unsung hero to take a sledgehammer to this faux illusion of Hollywood romance and high society dining that we've all been hypnotised into believing throughout the day, and bring it back down to reality with some good old salt-of-the-earth dirty banter. Honestly, I think they could say anything at this point, and it'll win me over. Balls. Ha! Legend. But unfortunately, it can't be all good crack. No, the bride and groom gotta get up and say their bit. Thanks everyone for coming. Let me tell you about how we met. Big thanks to the hotel and staff who profoundly overcharged us for this venue.
Thanks to Mary for doing the makeup, Father Maloney who did a great job on the ceremony, and Samantha who brought her 8-month-old to the church who proceeded to cry not only through all the vows, but the entire ceremony. No worries, Samantha. This day only cost us 30 grand.
Usual boring stuff. But not only do they drone onto the...
I'm like, bitch, that's your fault.
point, it's become tradition for hungry guests to take bets on how long the speeches will be in an attempt to inject some action into the boredom. But they also go ahead and turn down the crackometer by dragging everybody through the graveyard of their lives. Anybody who they've ever known who has died gets a mention.
My grand-aunt Deirdre, my cat Hope, who I had when I was 6, Ray Liotta, really enjoyed him in Goodfellas.
And you're just there with your stomach audibly rotting out of you like, I'm going to have to add my name to that f***ing list if we don't get a move on.
Ducky, behave yourself.
But finally, after they finish reading from RIP.ie, it's time to eat, drink and awkwardly mingle in the corner with the few people you can barely tolerate to be with, knowing all you'll have to tolerate now is the occasional old f*** prodding you with his finger telling you you'll be next in a manner that's more threatening than promising. But hey, at least at this time, the worst is behind you. Hey, my cousin Liam just got engaged. Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck. All right. Well, that took a little longer than expected. Okay, Ducky is still haven't disappointed me. It got me one good time, so I'm gonna say that's a good video, wouldn't you? All righty. And if you like my reactions, please subscribe, like, comment. What was the best wedding you've been to? What was the best wedding story that you have? Yeah, you can bring, if you feel like sharing that, please leave them in the comments down below. And if you have any other videos that you want to suggest to me, please leave a link and one of my social medias in the description. Slide to my DMs with the links, bros. That's really the only way I'm going to put them on the list. Alrighty, and if you made it this far in the video, guess what? You are fucking awesome. Don't let anyone tell you different. Because, you know, if you have a girlfriend and, you know what I'm saying, y'all in love, you're next. And unless you already knocked her up and y'all got like 3 or 5 kids by now, then, you know, what the fuck is the point at this point? All right, I'm done.